Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. So I got a few minutes before my next client and I wanted to get these questions answered. So, all right. Do you think that people are throwing around the term narcissist among other psychology terms such as gaslighting too loosely? I find they have become buzzwords. In some cases, yeah. I mean, pop psychology, hello, that whole thing. Are there a lot of narcissists out there? Yes. Is there a lot of gaslighting going on? Yes. So, yeah, you got to kind of consider the source and how is it being used and what are they referring to, and is it really gaslighting? Is it really narcissism? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you just got to really, consider the source. Really, it's kind of like, what are they talking about? Where is this coming from? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, it does pop psychology. Yeah, you got to be careful. Okay. My narc father hates the idea of me traveling solo and creates a scene just before I'm about to leave. These days, anticipating his reaction before a trip gives me anxiety. How do I cope? Well, he's going to do this, right? So you've just kind of got a gray rock. You just, you soothe yourself. You're okay. You're safe. You've got this, the whole thing. And you just know what's going to happen. And you just anticipate that he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And you just gray rock. Gotta go. Look at the time, and then you go. So, yeah, it's a lot of controlling parents try to do things like that, cause scenes, create turmoil, and really it speaks to their issues. It's their fear of abandonment, their fear of whatever is going on, and so they're trying to keep you from traveling and living your life. So yeah, so just kind of work your way through it. It's like, yeah, it's going to create some anxiety, but it's his issue. It's not yours. It's not yours. So work on gray rocking, work on anticipating that that's going to happen, and then just letting it go. Just, okay, dude, whatever, I got to go, bye. So, yeah. All right. Question, I really feel I have those narcissistic traits. What do I do? Well, if you are truly interested in working on those, if they're fleas, you're truly interested in changing them, you get with a good DBT therapist and you start working on those traits that you don't like, that you recognize as either abusive or whatever. If it is full-blown narcissism, generally, people with full-blown narcissism don't stick with the therapy because as soon as the therapist starts, going, okay, what's your part and how did you do this and, what's your responsibility, the true narcissist books out. If you're willing to stick with therapy, then it's fleas. So if it is fleas, then you can work on it. If it's down at the lower end of the spectrum, you can work on it. Once it hits malignancy, you cannot. So if you're concerned, which says to me you're at the lower end of the spectrum, or it's fleas, then get with a good DBT, dialectic behavioral therapist, and start working on those behaviors that you don't like. Okay. I started a new job, and my coworker came at me unfairly with a cruel tone, and I completely froze. I was so upset afterwards. I thought she was nice. Any advice on how to handle this? Ooh, okay. So people who come at people with a nasty attitude, and they pretend to be nicey nice, you got to have your guard up. You cannot trust this person. They've shown you who they are. So what you're going to do to handle this is you're going to have to get strong boundaries and you're going to have to become assertive. And I talked about this in a previous video. Deal breakers. What will you not put up with from anybody? So one of the things I don't put up with is a fucking attitude. I do not. And if somebody comes at me with that attitude, I look at them and go, you know what? You need to come back when you can keep a civil tongue in your head, period. Watch them change because they're not expecting that. They're expecting you to be like, and to take it. You don't have to take it. I don't care if it's a coworker. I don't care if it's a boss. I don't care if it's whoever. You do not put up with snarkiness, nastiness, meanness, cruelty, etc. from anybody. You do not. So I would say Okay, this is a coworker. So what you could do is you could just gently let her know. It's like, hey, the other day when this happened, this was really upsetting, and I don't like being spoken to that way. So in the future, if you have a problem with something I do, talk to me about it. Don't scream at me about it, or don't be nasty, snarky, mean, and whatever. And hopefully they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's what I was doing, and then they'll change their tude. If not, if they're an abuser, they're looking for a scapegoat, and your freezing gave them, the opportunity to continue to abuse. So freezing, fawning, flight, and fight, those are our knee-jerk reactions, and it's really difficult to overcome those. I mean, we generally, if that's our go-to, that's generally what we do when we are confronted with this. But with work, with certainty, with assertiveness, you can initially have that freeze response, but then go, wait a minute, you don't get to talk to me like that. Does that make sense? So I would say go to the coworker. Don't let her know that it upset you. I wouldn't say it upset me. I would just say, hey, I'm concerned. I felt this was unfair. See, I'm sticking to I statements. I felt this was unfair. I would appreciate a different tone or a different way of coming about it. That way it's not the you guns. And then watch the reaction. Because a healthy, normal person would be like, oh my God, oh Jesus, I didn't mean to come off like that. I'm so sorry. I didn't, A healthy, normal person will do that. Somebody who's interested in drama will become offended. They'll become defensive. They'll be like, you. So watch the reaction. So, you may be dealing with a personality disordered person. So anyway, I hope that helps. But assertiveness, absolutely. Self-esteem, assertiveness, deal breakers. The ability to stand up and go, no, I will not put up with that behavior. Thanks for playing. Try again. Do you see where I'm going with that? Okay. Is it okay for married men to flirt if it's superficial and does not lead to anything sexual or romantic? Many married men around me seem to use the term healthy flirting a lot. Everybody flirts. Babies flirt. Have you watched babies? They're adorable. They flirt. So there's flirting, and then there's, hey baby, how you doing? Flirting. So it's one thing if it's just, flirting, just fun, okay? It's quite another if they're wanting to hook up and, get a little something on the side, that whole thing. So basically everybody flirts. Everybody, from babies on up to 90-year-olds, and 110-year-olds. Everybody flirts, but it's the intention. It is the intention. So watch the intention. If the intention is just to, pass the time and have fun and, be a little flirty, that's fine. If the intention is to try to get a little something on the side and you're married, yeah, that's a little different, a lot different. So watch the intention. That's what you got to watch out for. Question, is there some technique that you can give for healing my inner child? I'm not sure why I'm so indecisive and codependent. I can't afford books or a therapist right now. What should I do? Okay, go to the library and see if you can get the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor. That's from the library. That is the best course of action. I mean, it's really hard to work on yourself if you don't have a therapist, if you can't get the workbooks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, some of the techniques that you can do to start healing is start writing your inner child a love letter. Dear little me, good job, keep going, I'm proud of you. You got us through to adulthood. Congratulations, huzzah! That kind of thing. You can write love letters. You can do guided imagery, healing that inner child, that kind of thing. It's a lot easier and better, though, with a therapist or with some sort of workbook to guide you. So I would strongly suggest getting to the library and seeing if you can get the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor and work that from the library, because you don't have to pay for it if you get it from the library. All right. So, and mirror work like crazy, like self-esteem mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to like yourself. I give you permission to love your inner child. That thing, reprogramming. That's that type of stuff. All right, I was raised by covert narc parents, and I cannot seem to have fun. Common issue. Totally common issue. I'm 33, but I feel like I'm 75. Like my life is about waiting for death. How do I deal with this? You've got to put this stuff back on to the narcissist. So what you're going to do is you're going to get the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving. You're going to work that like crazy. You're going to get the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. You're going to get the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. And I would strongly suggest getting with a good trauma therapist to help you find your joie de vivre, help you find your joy of life, because that's what narcissists do. They want us to be miserable. So they want us to be miserable. So they want us to be completely and totally miserable. And so they do take away all of our joy. And when we did have joy, they would ruin it, right? So then we become our own jailers and we lose the joy, we lose the happiness, we lose the fun, we lose the this, we lose the that. So I would strongly suggest getting with a good therapist, a good trauma therapist, get all of those books, start working them, and start allowing yourself to have joy. So when you do the mirror work, hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? It's okay to be happy. It's okay to have fun. I give you permission. It's all right. And then walk out. Write a letter about it. Write and burn. Write and burn, go fuck you letters to your parents. Do it. Burn them. Don't send them. Burn them. But yeah, so that's one way to start dealing with it. Life is not about waiting for death unless you want to be miserable the whole time. So you want to start saying no to those negative thoughts. So when the death thing pops up, right, instead of resisting it, going, no, I'm not thinking about it, I'm not thinking about it, what are you thinking about the whole time? And also not inviting it in for coffee and the damn thing stays for dinner, you want to be like, oh, yep, there's that negative, nasty thought again that my mom and dad gave to me. I'm not interested. Thanks for playing. I'm going to have fun. Fuck you. Goodbye. You acknowledge it, but you don't invite it in. You don't resist it. So yeah, that is what you're going to start doing. Okay. I get super angry when a customer gives me signs they are a narcissist. Any advice to remain calm? I've had a lot of narcissistic abuse, so that's where the anger comes from. So it's really a good idea, especially if you're working in customer service, to nail down those triggers, okay? So when I was going through grad school, I had to work at retail. I was doing, I think it was, where was I working? It wasn't Dillard's, Robinson May, something like that. Anyway, I was working one of those, and we had this clientele that had arrogance, entitlement, attitude up the wazoo, right? And it was a daily thing. I would come home to John and be like, you will not believe what this woman said to me today. I mean, seriously, they do that. But when you're with them, you've got to master the art of gray rock. Gray rock. You can, in your head just go, wow, what a miserable POS you are. In your head, don't say it out loud, you'll get fired. But, you just kind of separate. It's not your abuser. It is not having anything to do with you. It's like, I had this one woman walk up and she was like, the kids were whining and everything. And she looked at them and she was like, if you don't stop your whining, I'm going to make you shop at Ross. Like, that was a horrible thing. That's the only place I'll shop because I'm too damn cheap. I am not paying full price for jack shit anything. So anyway, it's like, so, she did that. And then she was like snapping her fingers at me, treating me like a servant. And I just thought in my head and I went, oh, you're a psychological study right there. It's like separation. It was like, this has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with that woman and her issues and how she raises her children and, all of that. And I was just like, wow. So separation, learn to separate. It's not you. It's not your family. Yes, they're narcissists. Yes, they're assholes. Yes, they're abusive. Gray rock, gray rock, gray rock. Have some amusement. Really, seriously, it's like, wow, it sucks to be you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's like in your head. Don't say it out loud. So, but yeah, you got to separate. It's not you. And yeah, that's common. Yeah. Sometimes I would come home from work and I would just look at John and go, there is no hope for the human race. But, because it's like these people were so entitled and so nasty and so snarky and narcissistic and, the whole thing. So, yeah. So yeah, no, you have a right to your anger. Journal it out. Journal it out, but start separating. Start separating. It's like these people are not your family. They're not. They act like your family, but they're not your family. And have some humor. It's like, yeah, they're going to have a nasty attitude. Yeah, they're going to treat you like a servant. Yeah, they're going to snap their fingers at you and they're going to do whatever. But you gray rock and you just plaster on that smile. And then, when you get home, you write a book about them. So, and have some humor. Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. I've been there, done that. Okay, why do they drag on divorces? Because they would rather have a fucked up, dysfunctional connection to somebody than no connection at all. They drag on divorces because it gives them entertainment. They get bored very easily. And the divorce is the grand theater for them to tell the world what a horrible person you are. Seriously, they think that the judge gives two shits about personal opinions. They don't. What a judge wants is to get the divorce case in and the divorce case out. All they care about is getting it off their docket. They don't give a fuck about the inner workings of your relationship. But in a narcissist's head, this is a grand theater. They get to stand up there and be the victim. They get to stand up there and tell the world how horrible you were or whatever. I mean, they're crazy. They're crazy. And so that's why they drag out the divorces, because they enjoy the whole, drama. It's the drama. So what you want to do is stick to facts and figures. Do not play the drama. Do not get involved in the emotions. The judges don't care. And in fact, they will see who's causing the problems. Honestly, it's like, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen judges get fed up with the abuser because the abuser is just like, nonstop, go, 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 drama, 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 emotional plea after, emotion after emotion after emotion, dragging the court case out. And the judge gets fed up because they just want it off their docket. They've got so much stuff. They just want it gone. So if you're reasonable in a divorce and you're sticking to facts and figures, the judge is going to like you a whole lot better. Trust me on that one. But that's why they drag it out, because they'd rather have a fucked up dysfunctional connection to somebody than no connection at all. And this is their last little bit of control, and once you're done with them, if there's no kids involved especially, you're done. It's like once the divorce is over, you're done. And so they'll drag it out over the last toaster, the last toothpick, the last whatever. So yeah, that's why. Why is it so hard to put into words the trauma they put us through? You put it into words beautifully. Well, thank you. It's hard because the average person does not understand this stuff. They've not been through this. It's hard for them to conceptualize. It's hard for them to understand. And so when we're trying to explain what we've been through to somebody who hasn't been through it, it's really hard because we can tell by the facial expressions that they're like, they don't get it, kind of thing. So it is hard to put into words, but I think practice makes perfect. And I think all of us should write books. I really, truly do, to educate other people, to warn other people, and to practice being able to tell our stories. One of the main things, the way that abusers abuse, is to shut us up. One of the main ways they do it is by devaluing us and making us feel like our voice is not heard or that we are not worthy or whatever. And I think the more we practice telling our story and the more we practice going, you know what, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, fuck that shit, I am not putting up with that crap anymore, the healthier we'll be. Now, you don't want to get stuck in story as in, this drama, this trauma is me. No, this happened to me, I learned from it, and I am never allowing that shit in my life again. Thanks for playing, bye-bye. So yeah, I think it's really a good idea to write it down. Write it down, write it out, write and burn, or write and keep it if you're afraid of being hoovered. I think that would be a good thing. Okay, what book do you suggest as the first book to get on my healing journey? I would say the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, because really self-esteem is the basis of literally everything. It's like you want to get rid of codependency, work on self-esteem. You want to get rid of having narcissists in your life, work on self-esteem. You want to help yourself with anxiety and depression, work on self-esteem, because anxiety and depression erodes our self-esteem. Okay, let's see. How much time do I have? Ooh, I got a few more minutes. Okay. Why do abuse survivors have problems asking for help? Because we've been told not to. I don't know about you, but my family did the whole don't air your dirty laundry. Don't tell anybody your dirty laundry. This is our little secret. This is our family stuff, blah, blah, blah. So we get told early on, don't ask. Or if we did ask for help and we did reach out and we did say, help me, we had teachers go, not my problem. Or somebody else, not my problem. So it's kind of like, well, shit, I guess I'm on my own. All right, you know? And so it's really hard for us to learn to ask for help of the appropriate people that will actually do something. So, and that goes with trusting your gut and self-esteem and everything else. Any advice for dating someone? I'm 5.5 years after divorcing the narc. The new man seems nice and I've been working on myself and am in therapy, so I want to take this opportunity to explore. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Have your list of deal breakers. Make sure that this person respects you. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to you. Seriously. So make sure you have your list of deal breakers. Make sure this person respects you. Look for red flags, you know. But if there are none, then you kind of got to go, okay, there are none. Great, you know. But if a red flag does pop up, that should really be kind of a, ooh, okay, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, be aware of red flags. Make sure you have your list of deal breakers. Make sure this person respects you. And if they cross a deal breaker, that's kind of a red flag. That's not kind of a red flag. That is a red flag. So, you know, you can make them aware and be like, okay, this is a red flag. But if they do it again, you wash that man right out of your hair. So, yeah, be careful. So there's that. Okay. Forgetting to breathe during a panic attack. Is that related to the freeze response? It is related to every panic attack. So when we are in the midst of a panic attack, the first thing we do is, and we just don't breathe, or we take these puffy little breaths that go nowhere. So this is all part of the panic attack. So the best way to do that is to practice breathing. So when you recognize that you're holding your breath, you've got to force yourself to let it go and force yourself to breathe. Like seriously, like I have some clients literally put the word breathe all over their, you know, their bathroom or wherever they're doing their meditation or wherever they find themselves having a panic attack. So breathe, breathing, breathing, breathing. So yeah, it does go all the way back to childhood. And yeah, we do hold our breaths when we're in the middle of a panic attack. It's like that's the first thing that happens is that we tense up and we take these puppy little breaths, or we just tense up and we don't breathe. So yeah, part of the freeze, you bet. So breathe. It's important to practice breathing. Breathing meditations. There's some breathing meditations on YouTube that are really good. I would start practicing that. Question, are codependency and CPTSD rooted in childhood trauma? Yes. CPTSD, though, can be rooted in a relationship trauma. So you got involved with an abuser and that gave you CPTSD. But codependency, yeah, that's usually a childhood issue. How is avoidant personality disorder different from hermit borderline? Well, hermit borderline, I'm actually going to be talking about that this week. So that's going to be my topic on Sunday, is borderline. I'm going to be covering the waif, the hermit, the witch, and the queen, and talk about, or the queen and the witch, talk about all of that. So avoidant personality disorder is somebody who avoids. They're terrified. They're terrified of making a wrong decision. They're terrified of making the wrong choice. They're terrified of not being good enough. They're terrified of, you know, all of this stuff. So they avoid stuff. They just don't do it. They just, you know, they don't do it. The hermit borderline type is kind of akin to the covert narcissist. Those two act very similarly. So they both have avoidant behavior, but it is not avoidant personality disorder. So, and I'll talk more about that on Sunday. So, a hermit borderline and an avoidant personality disorder. So the hermit borderline has always got an agenda. It's always, how do I explain this? It's kind of like control kind of thing. And it's control over here with the avoidant as well, but there's no malice involved. It's like they're not really making it about other people, whereas the hermit is always making it about other people. It's the best way I can explain it in this short amount of time. So tune in Sunday. Sunday I am going to be doing borderline. I want to talk more about borderline personality disorder. I want to talk about the waif, the hermit, the queen, and the witch, and talk about the different types, and also what to watch out for, and the difference between traits of and full-blown. Traits of you can work with, full-blown you can't. So, all right, kids, that is it. I hope that answered all the questions. I will see you on Sunday at noon, and the topic will be borderline personality disorder and the different subtypes. All right, talk to you later. Bye.